everybody, this is Desiree with Whisper Creek Designs, and today we're going to be making these cute little springtime snails. They're crochet and they're multicolor with the stripey yarn. Put on a little stone pebble base to help them stand up, and they're super easy to make. Even if you're a beginner or if you are an experienced crocheter, I think you'll have fun making these. There's 3 different sizes. This is the largest one, and then there's the medium and small. The largest one has the big swirly shell, and then the medium one has more of a swirl, and the little one has a little bit of a swirl. Ooh. So we're using this stripey yarn. It's called Sugar Plum Stripe. And the reason I like this yarn for these snails is because it has springtime colors and it has different sections so that you can get different colors in each snail. So we're going to start by making a slip knot. Now put your yarn over your fingers like this, and then using your hook and holding down the yarn, we'll put it over this middle one, under the next one again. And we're just going to gently pull it through. And then you want to release the 2 off your fingers while pulling it so it tightens up. And you've made a slip knot. So now we're just going to pull the end that's connected to your yarn so that the loop isn't super tight around the hook, but that it's closer. You can adjust the slip knot if it's too close by pulling the yarn with the loose tail, and then you can tighten it up by pulling the yarn going to your working yarn. So to hold the yarn, you want to use your ring finger and your pinky to create tension on your pointer finger. This will help you keep the yarn from getting too loose. And then with your middle finger and thumb, you're going to hold the base next to the hook. So we've made 1 loop. And this is called a chain. So we've made 1 chain. I'm going to go front and twist the yarn and pull through the loop again. And that's made our 2nd chain. Making a 3rd one, going over the front of the yarn and looping around. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Each little V is 1 chain. There's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we've got 10 so far. And we'll need 5 more. So if you don't hold the yarn with your pinky, this is what happens. You get really big loops because the yarn isn't being held by anything, and it gets really loose. So if your yarn is really loose, that might be a problem of hold the yarn more with your pinky while you're crocheting. I lost track of where I was now. Alright, so we're just finishing up these chains. I'm going to count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 14. Oh, I do have 15. Now we're going to turn. You want to skip the first loop that's next to your hook. That's going to be our turning chain, and we're going to put the hook in under the first loop after it. So now there's 2 loops on your hook, pulling the yarn through just the first one. And then we're going to loop over again and pull this time. Oh, I was showing how you can turn the hook with your pinky on that hand. That is a single crochet. So that's your first single crochet in the row. And then in the next one, just going to put it close to the next one, loop over, go through just the first loop, loop over again, going through both of them. So now I can see you've got 2 single crochets because you can see the 2 V's, like we're counting chains, but we're counting the single crochets. And in the next stitch, just in the top loop, you can see it's starting to curve a little bit. You can just barely see it. So that part is going to be the tail inside, or the shell, the inside part of the shell. So first loop. And second loop. 1, 2, 3. There's 3 V's there, 3 single crochets. Four single crochets. And you can see more now how it's starting to curve a little bit. As you go, it'll start curving even more. There's 5. And 6. So we're going to go all the way to the end in the same pattern, going in the next stitch, just under the top loop, pulling the yarn in the first loop, pulling the yarn through both loops. And that makes a row of single crochets all the way down to the end. You can really see now how the inside of the shell is starting to curve in. Just going the same pattern all the way to the end. If the tail of the end is blocking your view, you can just start curling it in a little bit. There's the next stitch. Pulling through the first one, pulling through the second one. Getting close to the end. And again, you can start to see the little shell now. This is a little purple one. So we've got one more stitch to the end, right in here. One loop, and then through both loops, and then we'll finish off by just chaining one. Pull it a little bit, and we'll trim up past the end, pulling it through so that the tail comes out and just tightening it up. So this will be the shell here, and the snail, like long curly antennas, and then just trimming up the antennas so that they are where you want them. Not cutting your finger. And there's your first little snail. So this is the small one made with 15 chains at the beginning. And then what we're going to do, I have some glue dots. You can get these for scrapbooking or doing photos. You can use these. These you don't have to wait for them to dry, and they're not too messy. But you can also use tacky glue or a hot glue gun if you prefer. So I have some little stones here, and you just want to put the glue dot on top. If you have the kit, the glue dot will already be stuck to the stone. You just have to peel it up. And then so take your snail and position it where you want it to have the base. And center it on the glue dot. And we'll move the shell a little bit so we can press down the bottom yarn to the glue dot, and it will stick on both sides. And then just recurl the shell up. And these are so cute. You can kind of position them a little bit like this is my racing snail going really fast leaning forward, or my curious snail with the little antenna going side to side. They kind of just have their own little personalities. Now here's the medium-sized snail. And we're also going to make the medium-sized snail showing you how to do a stripe like this snail has. Basically, we'll just wind the yarn up till we get pretty close to where the next color starts. So there's where the pink starts, so what I'll do is back up about 12 to 15 inches, about a foot. You can go more if you want to, but that's about what I did for the other one. And then we'll cut it so that we can start here. Alright, so we're going to clean up a bit and make another slip knot. So same way, we're going to cross the yarn over, go under, oop, go under, over, and under, pull through, release, and tighten. And snug it up just a little bit. Alright, and then we're going to make 25 chains for the medium snail. And you can see that the color is starting to change. Alright, we're into the full pink now. Okay, skipping that first chain and going into the second chain, pulling through one loop, pulling through both loops, first single crochet made, and that's going to be the inside of our shell. And we're going to follow all the way down the line of chains, making the single crochets in each one. This is the snail that actually inspired the art on the pattern, the PDF pattern, and the thumbnail for this video. Our little mascot for this pattern. Absolutely love this springtime pink into the purple. So now we get to go into our purple chains. So now you have the stripe of purple with the pink next to it. So that row of purple is going to swirl up into the shell. And you can start to see the shell forming. It's already got a nice curl. I think this is my favorite size of the snails because the little one is super cute, but you don't get too much of the swirl. The big one is really pretty, but the size of the shell has a hard time staying together a lot of the time. But the medium one seems to be the perfect size to be, the shell is pretty secure, and you get a really nice spiral with it. We're getting close to the head. You can see on the side there the color swirl is changing. And now we're back to purple on our yarn too. So it's the dark purple instead of the light purple. I love how the color change swirls all the way up to the middle top of the shell on the back. So this is our last stitch of the row, and then just chain 1 to make the little antenna. And snug it up. We're just going to trim those. I think another reason I like this one so much is because the body is different from the shell, kind of like a real snail where they're living in the shell, so that the color of the snail is different than the color of the shell. We'll choose a stone for her. Get another glue dot. And we'll just center that on there. Oop, that's where it's gonna be. They're very sticky. And then just curl the shell up. Oh my goodness, she's so cute. I love how on the medium ones too. Oh, I love the color change on that one. If you want to, you can kind of shape the shell so it's more of a towered spiral, like a real shell. But you can also just tuck it so it's straight on there. I also love how these naturally turn so that the head has a lot of little personality. Be kind of cute to get some like of the tiny Google eyes and put them on there. I don't know if they'd stay on the end of the antenna though, because I know their eyes are at the end of the antenna. But they'd still be super cute. Okay, so we're making the large snail now, and the large snail is 35 chains. Just going under, over and under, pulling through and tightening. And we're going to chain 35. So the small one is 15, medium 25, large 35. And for this size hook and yarn, when I was testing out the different lengths, it seems like those are the best 3. I also made one of the snails is made with 20, and that one was good too, but it was almost the same size as the little one, so the increase by 10 chains seemed to work well for the 3 different sizes. The devotional for this pattern is about God not being slow like people think about slowness. Because God created time, and we are time-bound creatures, and He is not bound by time. He's eternal. I think a lot of times I think of everything in the realm of now and when is this gonna happen? When is that gonna happen? It's not happening how fast I think it should happen. Before I was married, I was like, Lord, why are you waiting so long to bring me my husband? And now that I'm married, I can see how God used all those different things, even though I thought it was late in life to get married. God knew it was His perfect timing. And I don't have kids yet, and I'm really looking forward to having kids. And that's another thing right now that I'm just trusting that He has His timing perfectly for that. And I don't have to worry that it's out of His control. It's in His control. So, thinking about that. And then the other verse that I thought about with these little snails is, "Be still and know that I am God." I think I like that those two verses are similar in that we're not only thinking about God, but also remembering that He's never late and He's not slow like we think. Oh, if you're slow, you need to go faster, or it's not happening fast enough. But God's not like that. He always is doing everything He needs to on His schedule, and His schedule is perfect. So, one thing you'll notice with the big snail is that as you're working on the the shell, it's going to be pretty curly and wild until it gets rolled up at the end. So, also, if you do the large snail, you have the best chance of getting some stripes because it's longer. So I guess my encouragement is that when you see these little snails, if you have like one or two around your house, or you give them as a gift to somebody, that you would remember that God is in control, and that a lot of times, we're like, go, 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 we have to get this done, we have to get that done. And then I know for me, sometimes I don't do devotions like I should, or spend time to pray, or read my Bible. And that's the most important thing, because those things are eternal and those things aren't bound by time. Those things are for His kingdom and His glory. And the verse says, be still and know that I am God. And I think that is something that God really wants us to remember, especially when we are extra busy, because I know for me, I get stressed and not able to be my best self and be honoring to Him when I'm really stressed like that. So, remembering to spend time with Him. He's my source of strength. He is my love in my life, first and foremost. And I want to keep Him above everything else. And that's my prayer for you too. So we're just gonna curl up the tail. This is the fun part. And one tip I would have is don't stretch out the yarn because it won't curl back up if you stretch it out. I mean, it will a little bit, but it won't stay together very well. Oh, he's so cute. So, especially with the big one, you can kind of tear the shell a little bit from the inside. And I'll pick one of the bigger stones for him. Sometimes if it won't peel off from one side, you can go from the other side. Perfect. All right. And just snugging it on there. Now the large ones are the most unravelly, and so my recommendation, if you want to, is you could also put a little glue on the layers to keep them together, like maybe on the bottom, middle, and the next middle, and then the center to keep it on. But these guys, I haven't done it, and they stay together fairly well, but if you're going to move them around a lot, it might be helpful. Okay, so we have all our snails, and something fun you can do if you so desire is to take a piece of paper. When we were growing up, my mom had a game for us that she found. It was called Snail's Pace Race. So I've made slips of paper. The original game is a board with wooden snails, and it has 2 dice with the different snail colors on it. This one I just wrote Chuck. That's what I named the snail. There's Pink and Chuck. And I just made a board with this. You want a start and a finish, and then you want however many spaces in between. And the last one is swirly. And then I put the papers in a bowl, but basically you want enough papers that are for each of the spaces. Pink got one. And then when you get one, you just move it forward. So let's see what we got next. Pink and pink. Pink again. Swirly. Let's see who wins. Three-way tie. It's Chuck. Chuck is the winning snail. Looks like I only had one left, so looks like I miscounted. Chuck could be the only winner because there's not enough for the other ones. I think if I had enough pink, probably would have won, but you never know. You never know. So this is definitely my favorite snail so far. Super cute. I love how the color contrast came. And the swirl is just great on the colors there. And then you've got the green and the purple and the blue with this one, all three. A lot of personality. This is the other medium one I made earlier. Well, I hope you had fun making your little snails, and I hope that you make some to gift to somebody. And let me pray for you before we leave. Dear Father, thank you so much for these crafters and these makers. You've made each one of them. You know exactly what they're going through. Please bless them today. Bless their hands as they make things for you. Help them to slow down, enjoy you, enjoy the life that you've given them, and keep their minds on you, Lord. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. Thank you so much for watching. I can't wait to make next month's craft with you, and I can't wait to meet you in heaven someday. Have a great day. Bye.